Have you ever looked closely at the food you're eating and wondered, is this really what I think it is? In today's world, the food industry has become a complex network where authenticity often takes a back seat to profit. What if I told you that the orange juice you had this morning might not be as pure as you think, or that the honey you drizzle on your toast could be something entirely different? Welcome to the world of food imposters, where what you're eating may not be what you think it is. This video will take you on a journey through the deceptive practices of the food industry, revealing shocking truths about the foods you consume daily. Get ready to have your mind blown as we uncover the secrets behind these food imposters. The Great Olive Oil Deception. Olive oil, particularly extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, is often hailed as one of the healthiest oils available, rich in monounsaturated fats and antioxidants. But did you know that up to 80% of the extra virgin olive oil sold globally could be fraudulent? Yes, you heard that right. In 2010, a study conducted by the University of California, Davis found that 69% of imported olive oils labeled as extra virgin failed to meet international standards. Instead of the pure, high-quality oil you believe you're buying, you could be getting a blend of lower-grade oils, chemically refined to mimic the taste and appearance of genuine extra virgin olive oil. The problem is so widespread that the European Union has implemented stricter regulations to combat olive oil fraud. Despite these efforts, the issue persists. Olive oil fraud is highly profitable, with some estimates suggesting that adulterated olive oil can be produced for as little as $7 per litre, compared to $50 or more for authentic extra virgin olive oil. In 2016, Italian police uncovered a criminal network that had been producing and exporting fraudulent olive oil to the United States, earning millions in illegal profits. The olive oil industry's deception raises serious concerns. Consumers are being misled and paying premium prices for a product that doesn't deliver the promised health benefits. Moreover, the consumption of adulterated oils may pose health risks, especially when cheaper oils like soybean or sunflower oil are used in the mix. This has sparked debates about the effectiveness of food labeling regulations and the need for more stringent enforcement to protect consumers from these food imposters. The honey hoax. Honey has been revered for centuries as a natural sweetener with numerous health benefits. However, much of the honey on store shelves is not what it seems. The honey industry is rife with fraud, and the product you're buying could be adulterated with sugar syrups, corn syrup, or even rice syrup. The process of ultrafiltration, which removes the pollen from honey, makes it nearly impossible to trace the origin of the honey, allowing counterfeit products to flood the market. In 2011, a report by Food Safety News revealed that 76% of honey sold in US grocery stores had been ultra-filtered, effectively removing all traces of pollen. This means that not only are consumers being misled, but they are also losing out on the potential health benefits that come from consuming raw, unfiltered honey. Even more alarming is the fact that some honey products on the market contain no honey at all, only artificial sweeteners and flavorings. China is one of the largest exporters of honey, but it has also been at the center of numerous honey fraud scandals. Chinese honey is often adulterated with illegal antibiotics, and in 2001, the US imposed tariffs on Chinese honey to protect domestic producers. However, Chinese honey continued to enter the US market through other countries in a practice known as honey laundering. In 2008, a German food safety laboratory discovered that honey imported from India contained traces of chloramphenicol, a potentially harmful antibiotic. The honey had originally come from China, highlighting the complexities of global food supply chains and the challenges of ensuring food authenticity. The consumption of adulterated honey can have serious health implications. Antibiotic-laden honey poses risks of antibiotic resistance, while high levels of added sugars can contribute to obesity and diabetes. The honey industry's fraudulent practices also undermine the livelihoods of honest beekeepers and contribute to the decline of bee populations, which are already under threat from environmental factors. Juice or just sugar water? Fruit juices, especially those labeled as 100% pure, or not from concentrate, are often marketed as healthy beverages packed with vitamins and antioxidants. However, the reality is that many of these juices are far from the fresh, wholesome products they claim to be. In some cases, they contain little more than water, sugar, and artificial flavors. In 2009, the Brazilian Association of Citrus Exporters, Citrus BR, revealed that some orange juice producers were using a process called cutting, where a small amount of juice concentrate is diluted with water and then reconstituted to appear as fresh juice. This practice allows companies to produce large quantities of juice at a fraction of the cost of using fresh oranges. The resulting product may still be labeled as 100% juice, despite being heavily processed and lacking the nutritional benefits of freshly squeezed juice. Labeling practices in the juice industry are notoriously misleading. Terms like "not from concentrate" and 100% pure are often used to imply that the juice is fresh and unprocessed, but this is not always the case. For example, many 100% orange juices are actually a blend of juices from different fruits, with added flavorings to mimic the taste of fresh oranges. In some cases, the juice may even be a combination of water, sugar, citric acid, and orange oil, with little to no actual fruit content. A 2014 report by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, found that the average American consumes 2.7 gallons of fruit juice per year. However, the same report also revealed that many fruit juices contain more sugar per serving than a can of soda. For example, a 12-ounce serving of orange juice can contain up to 33 grams of sugar, compared to 39 grams in a can of cola. This high sugar content, combined with the lack of fiber and other nutrients found in whole fruits, makes fruit juice a less healthy option than many people believe. Imitation seafood, is it the real deal? Seafood is another area where food imposters thrive. With the demand for seafood on the rise, the market has seen an increase in the use of cheaper, less desirable species being mislabeled as premium products. For example, you might think you're buying wild-caught salmon or tuna, but in reality, you could be getting a much lower quality fish. A study by Oceana, a marine conservation organization, found that 1/3 of seafood samples tested in the United States were mislabeled. In some cases, cheaper species like tilapia or catfish were being sold as more expensive fish like red snapper or grouper. The problem is not limited to the United States. In Europe, a 2015 study found that 41% of fish sold in supermarkets and restaurants were mislabeled, with cheaper fish species being substituted for more expensive ones. What about the economic and environmental impacts? Seafood fraud has significant economic and environmental consequences. Consumers are being deceived into paying higher prices for lower quality products, while the practice also undermines sustainable fishing efforts. Overfishing of certain species is a major environmental concern, and mislabeling makes it difficult for consumers to make informed choices about the sustainability of the seafood they purchase. The health risks associated with seafood fraud are also a cause for concern. Certain species of fish, such as escolar, which is often mislabeled as white tuna, can cause gastrointestinal distress if consumed in large quantities. Additionally, some seafood products may contain higher levels of contaminants like mercury, posing further health risks to consumers. Meat. What are you really eating? Meat is one of the most commonly consumed food products globally, but it is also one of the most frequently adulterated. From horse meat scandals to the use of meat glue, the meat industry has a long history of deceptive practices that leave consumers questioning what they are really eating. The horse meat scandal, one of the most infamous cases of meat fraud, occurred in 2013 when it was discovered that horse meat had been used in products labeled as beef in several European countries. The scandal affected major food brands and retailers, leading to widespread recalls and the loss of consumer trust. The horse meat was found to be sourced from slaughterhouses in Eastern Europe and had been illegally mixed with beef to reduce costs. The scandal highlighted the complexities of the global meat supply chain and the challenges of ensuring food authenticity. Meat glue. A hidden ingredient. Another controversial practice in the meat industry is the use of meat glue, a product known as transglutaminase. This enzyme is used to bind smaller pieces of meat together to create the appearance of a whole cut. For example, small pieces of beef can be glued together to create a larger steak, which is then sold as a premium product. While the use of meat glue is legal in many countries, it is often not disclosed on product labels, leaving consumers unaware that they are buying a reconstituted product. The use of meat glue raises both health and ethical concerns. Reconstituted meat products may be more susceptible to bacterial contamination, as the process of binding smaller pieces together creates more surface area for bacteria to thrive. This increases the risk of foodborne illnesses, especially if the meat is not cooked thoroughly. Ethically, the practice of using meat glue without clear labeling is deceptive, as consumers may believe they are purchasing a whole cut of meat rather than a product made from various scraps. The global meat market is valued at over $1 trillion, and with such high stakes, the temptation to cut corners is significant. In 2018, the European Union's food fraud network reported over 300 cases of meat fraud, ranging from the mislabeling of meat to the sale of expired products. The horse meat scandal alone affected 16 European countries and cost the industry millions of dollars in recalls and lost sales. These figures underscore the prevalence of fraud in the meat industry and the need for more stringent regulations and enforcement to protect consumers. Cheese. Not as dairy as you think. Cheese is a beloved food worldwide, but not all cheese is created equal. In fact, some products labeled as cheese are not technically cheese at all. These cheese products often contain little to no actual dairy, relying instead on vegetable oils, starches, and artificial flavors to mimic the taste and texture of real cheese. What's really inside processed cheese? Processed cheese products, such as American cheese slices, are a prime example of this deception. While they may look and taste like cheese, these products are often made from a combination of cheese and other ingredients, such as emulsifiers, preservatives, and colorings. In some cases, these products contain as little as 51% real cheese, with the rest made up of additives that help extend shelf life and improve texture. The labeling of these products as cheese is often misleading, as they do not meet the legal definition of cheese in many countries. The mozzarella controversy. Another example of cheese fraud involves mozzarella, a popular cheese used in pizzas and other dishes. In 2014, an investigation in Italy uncovered a widespread practice of using a mix of cow's milk and water buffalo milk to produce mozzarella, even though authentic mozzarella should be made exclusively from water buffalo milk. This fraudulent practice allowed producers to cut costs while still marketing their product as premium mozzarella. The scandal led to a crackdown on counterfeit mozzarella, but the problem persists in other regions where demand for the cheese is high. The consumption of imitation cheese products can have nutritional implications. Real cheese is a good source of calcium, protein, and other essential nutrients, but processed cheese products often contain lower levels of these nutrients due to the addition of non-dairy ingredients. Additionally, the use of artificial additives and preservatives in processed cheese products raises health concerns, particularly for individuals with allergies or sensitivities to these substances. Maple syrup. Liquid gold or just sugar. Maple syrup is often referred to as liquid gold due to its rich flavor and natural sweetness. However, not all maple syrup is created equal, and some products labeled as maple syrup may contain little to no actual maple sap. Instead, these impostors are often made from high-fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and caramel coloring. The maple syrup heist. One of the most notorious cases of maple syrup fraud occurred in Canada in 2012, when a group of thieves stole over 3,000 tons of maple syrup from a Quebec warehouse. The syrup, valued at over $18 million, was part of a strategic reserve maintained by the Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers. The thieves diluted the stolen syrup with cheaper syrups and sold it on the black market, where it was difficult to trace. The heist highlighted the value of real maple syrup and the lengths to which some will go to profit from counterfeit products. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, requires that products labeled as maple syrup contain only pure maple sap. However, this regulation is not always strictly enforced, and products labeled as pancake syrup or maple-flavored syrup can contain a mix of corn syrup, cane sugar, and artificial flavors. Consumers may be misled by these labels, believing they are purchasing a natural product when in fact they are buying a highly processed imitation. The global market for maple syrup is estimated to be worth over $300 million, with Canada accounting for nearly 75% of the world's production. The prevalence of counterfeit maple syrup not only deceives consumers but also undermines the value of authentic products and the livelihoods of maple syrup producers. The Canadian government has taken steps to protect the integrity of its maple syrup industry, including stricter regulations and increased enforcement, but the threat of fraud remains. Spices. The secret filler spices are a staple in kitchens around the world, but the spice industry is another area where fraud is rampant. From turmeric to saffron, many spices are often adulterated with cheaper fillers, dyes, and even hazardous substances to increase profits. The turmeric fraud. Turmeric, a spice known for its vibrant color and health benefits, is often adulterated with synthetic dyes like lead chromate to enhance its appearance. In 2019, the FDA issued a warning about turmeric powder imported from Bangladesh that contained high levels of lead, a toxic metal that can cause serious health issues. The use of lead chromate in turmeric is not only illegal but also poses significant health risks, especially for children and pregnant women. Saffron, the world's most expensive spice. Saffron, often called red gold, is the most expensive spice in the world, with prices reaching up to $5,000 per pound. Its high value makes it a prime target for fraud. Saffron is often adulterated with cheaper substances like dyed corn silk, turmeric, or even shredded paper. In some cases, counterfeit saffron is made entirely from synthetic chemicals, with no real saffron content at all. The difficulty in detecting these adulterants makes saffron fraud a significant problem in the spice industry. The economic impact of spice fraud is substantial. The global spice market is worth over $12 billion, and fraud undermines the value of authentic products, harming producers and consumers alike. The health implications are equally concerning, as the consumption of adulterated spices can lead to exposure to harmful substances like lead, which can cause long-term health problems. Chocolate. Is it really chocolate? Chocolate is a beloved treat worldwide, but not all chocolate is what it appears to be. The chocolate industry is plagued by fraud, with some products labeled as chocolate containing little to no actual cocoa. Instead, these imposters are made from cheaper ingredients like vegetable oils, artificial flavors, and sweeteners. The demand for chocolate has led to the proliferation of imitation chocolate products, which are often marketed as chocolate-flavored or chocolate-like. These products may contain as little as 10% cocoa, with the rest made up of vegetable oils and other fillers. The use of vegetable oils instead of cocoa butter not only reduces the cost of production but also affects the taste and texture of the final product. Despite this, many consumers are unaware that they are buying an imitation product rather than real chocolate. The global demand for chocolate has led to concerns about cocoa shortages, as the production of cocoa beans is threatened by factors such as climate change, pests, and diseases. This has led to an increase in the use of cocoa substitutes and the production of counterfeit chocolate products. In 2020, a study by the European Union found that 10% of chocolate products tested contained undeclared vegetable fats, indicating widespread fraud in the industry. The consumption of imitation chocolate products raises health concerns, as these products often contain higher levels of sugar and unhealthy fats than real chocolate. Additionally, the production of counterfeit chocolate undermines ethical sourcing practices, as it is often linked to child labor and environmental degradation in cocoa-producing regions. Consumers who believe they are supporting sustainable and ethical chocolate brands may inadvertently be contributing to these harmful practices. To conclude, the world of food imposters is vast and complex, affecting nearly every category of food you can imagine. From olive oil to chocolate, the food industry is rife with fraud, deception, and unethical practices that leave consumers questioning what they are really eating. The implications of food fraud are far-reaching, impacting not only our health but also the environment, the economy, and the integrity of the global food supply chain. As consumers, it is crucial to be informed and vigilant about the foods we purchase and consume. Reading labels carefully, choosing reputable brands, and supporting local producers are just a few ways to protect yourself from food imposters. But the responsibility does not lie solely with consumers. Governments, regulatory agencies, and the food industry itself must take stronger action to combat food fraud and ensure that the foods we eat are safe, authentic, and true to their labels. The next time you sit down to a meal, take a moment to consider what's really on your plate. You may be surprised to discover that the food you're eating is not what it seems. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and demand transparency in the food you consume. After all, you deserve to know the truth about what you're really eating.